Welcome to episode 11 of the Senioritis podcast. I'm Joe Beaver. I'm joined with Aaron Johnson, Derek Tirrell, and Matthew Lyons. So, what are we talking about today?
I mean, it's becoming springtime finally. It's getting warmer. Like I'm starting to be. I don't know. I feel like whenever it's warmer out, you're always a little happier. I feel
Yeah.
like everyone's all like miserable in the winter, shivering. But anyway, we can jump right into it. Um, how and when did you find out what major you wanted to pursue? So this is kind of like a difficult topic for some people because on one hand, there's people who are absolutely passionate about what they want to do in life, but there's also the latter, which is just um, kind of just going into a major because that's what they think they like. So I want to know if you guys are passionate about your majors and when you found out that it was the right major for you. Take it
Yeah.
away.
I mean, for me, it was a long time ago. Matt knows this story. Eighth grade history honors challenge. We did a video project and we made a funny movie, and I just loved it so much, and it was so much fun to do. And that's when I kind of knew that's what I wanted to pursue. And then I always kind of had in my head like this is what I want to do for career. And then in high school with film club and then the internship, I kind of made it certain. So that's the short story there. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, mine's like the exact same story as you. I always had it as like a dream job in my head,
Yeah.
and then once we did that video for history, I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, I'd love to keep doing this. And then I remember like a few weeks later, we did another one, and I think I walked into his room, and Nora Ryan came up to me and she's like, "Oh my god, did you guys do another video?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Oh my god!" And like three people were like, "Oh yes, that's awesome." And
Yeah.
then I was like, "Okay, like I have to keep doing this." And then from there, like you said, the internship and the weekly wave, like that solidified it, and film club. So yeah.
Yeah. So you said you always saw it as a dream job. So like what was there like a person or anything that kind of like put you through that gate from taking it from like a dream to reality?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people. Like Mr. Campbell, Mr. Prezio, kind of like showing interest and like encouraging us and giving us like positive feedback. Miss Poirier,
Yep.
Justin, Kevin, obviously, and Miss Flommer too.
Yeah.
And even like little things like, I mean, I've told you this a few times, but one of my mom's friends, she was talking about like that I was like getting interested in film, and they had a nephew that was going to Emerson, and he said he's like, oh yeah, my nephew was going to Africa to shoot one of Beyonce's music videos, and like that was the first time where I was like, okay, someone from Abington is going to Africa and then actually like doing like a music video, and not only that, but for the Queen Bee, like what is going on? But just like little things like that also that kind of like put it into a perspective that is somewhat achievable.
Yeah. I feel like with my story, like I don't know if I always thought of it as like a dream job. I always loved movies and was always so fascinated by movies. But I feel like until I kind of tried it myself, I was always kind of like, oh, that's like magical. Like that can't be like replicated. I don't know how people do it. But once like we actually tried it, I was like, wow, it's amazing. Before that, I wanted to be Indiana Jones. I wanted to go like what does he do? Archaeologist. I wanted to go do that stuff, but now I don't know. I don't know if the archaeology life is for me. Um,
I feel
as
like you'd
fun
be
as
the
it would
one that
be.
would wear like the
Oh
Indiana
yeah,
Jones
for
hat.
sure. I'd be like running from boulders and stuff. Like that's where I was at in like middle school. But here we are. Joe?
For me, it was weird. It was like a little bit of both. It was like passion and like just kind of like trial and error, like finding what I like. Because like I knew I like science and things like that, but like I didn't like for what I'm doing. Like I didn't have exposure, I guess, to what I was doing. Like until I'm doing it, I feel like I won't know what it's actually really like, which is like kind of like a weird thing. But like in a way, it was kind of like a passion just because I like science and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a weird thing.
I don't know. I can attribute this a lot to my mother. I have an awesome mother. She told me to take a bunch of different classes in high school because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. Um, I, I I know my mind works in like a math STEM kind of way, so I knew that was a field for me. I was like dabbling with engineering, but really the combination of just like playing around, like just doing a bunch of different electives and classes, really kind of helped me find like what I was interested in. And yeah, I took a class freshman year, and I loved computer science. And then I just from there, I just every single class I kept on taking more and more and more. And then I realized it could be my job, so I went right into it.
That's really cool. Yeah. It's so cool that when, stuff in the schools is what helps us to, find our future. Um, I think that's so important, and I just will always preach to everyone, get involved, just try things, clubs, different classes, because it's so easy to just find what you're so passionate about, by chance if you just try things.
Yeah, I mean, who would, like equate honors history with film? Like, it
Right.
doesn't really make sense, but that's how.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't even remember why I joined honors history, to be honest. I think it was just because I liked Mr. Campbell and Mr. DePrizio, to be honest with you. And I'm interested in history and stuff like that. But the first few projects, I was getting a little bored. And then once we had the video project, I was like super excited. And every single time I was like super excited for the next history honors challenge meeting and, the next assignment. And then Matt and I went and made another video over the summer, which wasn't even assigned. And yeah, it was awesome.
I think involvement is really a huge part, and I feel like that's probably like the main reason why people like don't really know what they want to do because they never got really involved. Like doing all the electives, virtual high school clubs, internships, anything you can possibly do in high school, I highly recommend doing it because I feel like I'm really like well versed in that. Like I've internships, I've done virtual high school, I've done everything. I've really been like I've had a diverse profile.
Yeah,
It's allowed me to really be sure about what I want to do.
I agree. I completely agree.
To do
Because I
that.
feel like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, of course, but I do feel like I have friends that, they go to school, maybe do a sport, and then go home, and then that's it, and then they don't really get that exposure to everything the school has to offer, and they might not, get exposed to something they could be passionate about. Maybe you try things and it doesn't work out, right? Maybe you join the newspaper or you do the play and then you don't do it again because it didn't work out, it wasn't what you were passionate about. But at least if you try, you can start to narrow things down. And I know, like, it's so scary for people to leave high school not knowing what they want to do. Um, I know that a lot of people do it and a lot of people end up super successful. And you hear these crazy success stories about people saying, I was awful at school or even I was really good at school. I just didn't know where to go with it. And then they do great. But I just think when the opportunity is there for so many programs that the teachers and the faculty and the staff are running, it's so important to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and like I had no interest in like accounting or like psychology, but I like took those classes and like it was pretty fun. I mean, it wasn't like what I love to do, but I mean, at least I learned like, this is what I like and what I don't like from taking
Yeah.
those types of things. So
We have
And
a
you
great
learn.
school, so many opportunities.
Mhm.
But we can move on then.
All right. So it has been brought to my attention that Avatar will be released in Chinese theaters.
I can't wait.
What, are you gonna go to China, Aaron?
Maybe. There's all right, maybe it's a little bit of a cheap shot, I gotta say, for Avatar to kind of like retake the throne of
Cares.
the highest in the box office. But I mean,
I've
if
decided that I don't care anymore. If they're just gonna keep re-releasing, it's just like no, that's so dumb. No, they're just gonna what a few months from now, Endgame re-releases, and then what? Then Avatar re-releases, and then just back and forth. No,
For those of you who don't know, Avengers Endgame last year or 2 years ago beat Avatar as the highest grossing film of all time. Derek and I are huge Endgame fans. Aaron was not, and he loves Avatar. Derek and I are not the biggest Avatar fans. So, Avatar, it's just been announced that it's being re released in China, and it is expected to overtake Endgame once again as the highest grossing film of all time.
What year
by
did Avatar
7
come out
million.
again?
2010?
It's 2011.
Yeah, 2011. Why is it being re-released? It's just to take the title back. That's definitely a cheap shot.
Endgame could do it in like 5 years. It's like fifth, you know.
Endgame, if Endgame re-releases, like, let's say for whatever reason, let's say like a few months from now, the president comes out saying, you know what, 80% of the population has been vaccinated, go crazy. Everything's at full capacity. Go. If right when that happens, if they just say Avengers Endgame released, re-released, it will like double whatever Avatar is going to make in China right now.
What they should do is like in theaters and like drive-ins do a double feature with Infinity War and then right after that Endgame.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I'm pretty sure that's actually what's happening in China though, because I feel like, China has been kind of way better than us with the whole COVID situation. And obviously it's kind of like a communist country, so you can't really know too much about it. But
So that's what they're saying.
but like they have like no cases right now, apparently.
They have no documented cases.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean, like they just
North Korea has no cases, AJ, but they just like,
they just sweep the person under the rug.
If someone gets it, they kind of just.
By the way, I would love to hear President Biden at a press conference just go, all right, Americans, go crazy.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
dude, after this last year, I don't even know what would happen. I don't know if I might have brought this up before, but I know I've definitely brought this up before, but like I'm just so passionate about it. I can't wait for like the roaring 20s after COVID, when everyone dresses up, goes outside, like going to movies, out to dinner, all that.
Yeah. Before we go, I want to talk about that, what you're talking about more, but before we go off that last topic, the point I wanted to bring up there is it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter what the highest grossing movie anymore is if we're just going to be re-releasing to the end of time,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That was my point. But go ahead, Aaron. I agree. Roaring Twenties is going to be great. Can't wait.
Yes, but like no, it'll matter when like something blows those two out of the water. Like when
Does it ever matter? It's just money, and it goes to the people who have billions of dollars.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's like, oh yeah, which Disney owns them both.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like I remember when like Endgame like became the highest grossing film, like I felt like a sense of pride. I was like, yes, like I did that.
Well, it was more like, yeah, I saw that
it
movie
twice.
three or four times. So yeah, I was like kind of helped. Or, I saw it opening day, so I have a connection to that movie. And it's just better than the other one, so there's that. But yeah.
Yeah, when you're so passionate about something, you feel like a sense of like connection with it. Like I've seen Avatar like over like 15 times now, I would say. But like been to the park at Disney, like I have a personal connection with Avatar, I guess. And I like seeing it back on the throne.
Sure. I feel that way with like TV shows. Like if I watch a TV show like from the start, like especially if it's like still going and like more and more like people like jump on the ship. I was
It's like a sense
yeah.
of ownership, yeah.
Yeah.
The worst is seeing a TV show die though, that you've been so passionate about.
I prefer to see a TV show I like ended than it continue and be awful. Because that's happened with so many shows. I loved like the first few seasons, and then they continue it. And I'm like, oh, I can't even tell people I like this show anymore because nowadays it's so stupid. But yeah, I guess I have another topic if you guys want to move on. It kind of relates to shows. Disney Plus has a lot of people subscribe to it now, like a really lot. And Disney has mentioned that they would like to do 100 new series a year. Thoughts?
100 new series a year.
Would it
100
be like
series.
would it be like awful though? Like would it be just like garbage and then just spit it out? Like or would it be
No.
I mean,
100 million subscribers.
yeah.
100 million subscribers, and they said they want to do 100 series a year. So sources on discussing film on Twitter. They usually have. pretty-
Oh wait, they just got rid of Dumbo and Peter Pan. What?
I
What
mean,
happened?
If
Did
anyone,
Dumbo get canceled? Oh,
Yeah, they got canceled.
did they actually?
Yeah.
What
Disney
Dumbo
Plus
do?
removed Peter Pan, Dumbo from child's profiles due to negative stereotypes.
did you guys see
Oh, they canceled Dumbo.
did you guys see you know Space Jam, like Pepe Le Pew the skunk?
Yeah.
He got canceled too. So
Oh,
he's no longer in Space Jam.
like this stuff happened like once every few months, but now it's like weekly. Like, who we canceling this week? Who we
Yeah.
getting out of here?
And now it's like it's starting to affect us because like earlier it's like, oh, I don't know who that is, I don't know who that is, but now it's like Dr. Seuss, Pepe Le Pew, Dumbo, like the things that like we know.
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan.
Oh,
it's all
cancel
going.
culture's awful.
I get it,
Actually-
but it's awful.
Oh wait, no, because we haven't gone over. So
100 new series. What do you want to see?
They have such a wide variety of like things. Like I imagine like 25% will be like natural, not what the hell is it called?
National
National
Geographic. There you
Geographic.
go. But yeah, you're right. We'll get Pixar series. We'll get
Yeah.
we'll get Pixar series. We'll get National Geographic series. We'll get probably like Disney series. I know they did like a High School Musical one or something like that. We'll get like a ton of stuff like that. But I think 100 is a very achievable number for them, and I just hope that means like a little more Marvel. Like if we can have a year, it's not going to be this year, but if we can have a year, maybe next year, where every single week we have either a Marvel or a Star Wars show, or dare I say both on a Friday, how sick would it be if Friday rolls around and we have like a Star Wars show and a Marvel show dropping at 3 a.m. You know what I mean? That'd be awesome. So
It'd be awful for your sleep schedule because
it
I
would
know
be
you'd
bad for
stay
my
up for
sleep
both.
schedule because I like to stay up and watch them.
Yeah.
So that would be like sleep from like 10 to 3 and then wake up from like 3 to 5 and then go back to sleep for another 2 hours. Yeah, that'd be bad.
Here's the question though: what would you watch first? Say
Well,
there's
it
a new
depends
episode.
which ones it is,
Yeah.
Like if it's, let me think. Like Lando. I mean, Lando will be cool, but I'm not like super pumped for Lando. If it's like Lando versus like Secret Invasion for Marvel, I'll probably watch Secret Invasion first. But if it's like, I don't know, like Book of Boba Fett versus Miss Marvel, I'll probably watch Book of Boba Fett first. So.
Sure.
what I
But,
never
yeah.
noticed about Disney is they're a conglomerate of all of like 5 of these massive film studios. Like I've always seen them as kind of like sub-tier to like Netflix and Hulu.
No.
But I feel like they have the possibility just to absolutely skyrocket this year.
Aaron, they have control over everything, man. They
They
have
have
like
control of Hulu. They own.
they
them.
they own but they have some of the most valuable IPs out there at the moment. They have the top 2, at the moment, profitable IPs. So, the sky's the possibility. But before we leave the Disney Plus topic, what I appreciate most, and people crap on corporations a lot, and a lot of time they deserve to be crapped on, but they don't have to do this. They don't have to do 100 series a year. They could just do The Mandalorian and get nearly the same amount of money. But that's not what they're doing. They're giving us stuff repeatedly and a lot of good content. I mean, I didn't love the WandaVision finale, but like we're getting good content and a lot of it, and they don't have to do that, So there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, but I mean, they want to overtake Netflix because I mean, it's gonna be hard to like overtake Netflix. The thing about like Disney Plus is, and I was actually talking about this with Mad Dog the other day, and like Disney Plus, like it has that, and then it has Hulu, but they're separated, and like Netflix, like they have their own original stuff, and they have a lot of great original stuff, but they also have things that they like borrow from like other studios, and they have a cycle where there's new things repeatedly. So I
Yeah.
think Disney Plus, they have to keep dishing out like new content if they want to compete with like a variety of like rotating films and series.
I agree, but I think Disney Plus is almost on its own. Like it's very different than something like Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, because with Disney Plus, it's not about getting like other like studios to have movies on there. It's they're more banking on these huge IPs having new stuff coming out, you know? That's more of their like selling point, I feel. But I do agree that if they had, just a little bit, you have like your 5 sections at the top of Disney Plus. If they had one more, say, other people's stuff, then could
Yeah,
do
if they
that.
were to consolidate Hulu and Disney Plus, they would be unstoppable.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, because like for me, I feel like the reason I don't have Disney Plus is like I'm not really. I feel like they have like the Mandalorian and it's like some of their big shows, but like you also have to know a lot of other Star Wars things, and then like same with Marvel stuff. I feel like you have to know a lot of prior things and watch all the other movies, which I haven't. So
Yeah,
I
you're
feel
right,
like
Joe.
if they got other things, maybe I'd buy it. I don't know.
Well, see,
Yeah,
that's the great part about Disney Plus. It's all there. All the
yeah.
stuff to catch up on shows, it's all there.
All the Marvel stuff, all the Star Wars movies, all there. That's another thing, convenience. That's what I love about Disney Plus. I want to throw on Revenge of the Sith. I can do it. But yeah, I know there's a lot of people like Joe who like, okay, they have these Marvel shows, these Disney shows, or these Star Wars shows. Like, I'm not really gonna get too far into that, and like, I don't really want to pay the subscription for just that stuff. But clearly, I'm gonna say this while I still can, with Avengers Endgame being the highest grossing movie of all time, there is an audience there for Marvel stuff. And Star Wars The Force Awakens made a ton of money as well, even though the Star Wars fandom's still not in the best shape right now. There's definitely an audience there, undeniably. So Aaron, did you have another topic you wanted to move into?
Yeah, we're not old, but we're getting older. We're getting to the point where like my fondest memories are from when I was in like middle school, from like the ages of like 10 to like 14, 15. Like all those shows and TVs and all that, all the stuff we watched is now like off the networks or
Canceled. No, okay.
you'll avoid some of them. So there's like this whole new wave of just new TV shows and all that. But I want to focus on what you guys found fun, like from your childhood. Like, what was your like go-to TV shows, movies, entertainment? What do you kind of hold near and dear to your heart?
So for me, Drake and Josh, that show is sick. Okay, it's only like 3 seasons, but it's like the best show ever. And that's all really. That's all. I mean, iCarly's good too. I used to watch them back in the day. I think it's on Netflix now, right? Is it? Yeah.
Yep.
So, but Drake and Josh, that's the show.
Nice. Yeah, I was a huge fan of the Hannah Montana show. Like my whole family would watch that. That was an awesome show. I watched Zoe 101, like the reruns a few times. iCarly, I used to love that show.
Yeah.
In terms of movies, like I was and still am the biggest Batman fan ever. I saw The Dark Knight 3 times in theaters when I was 5, and I still remember like how I felt. So like yeah, anything like and Star Wars. I did like Star Wars, but iCarly and Hannah Montana were like my Disney shows to watch.
Yeah. For me, I guess this would go back a little bit younger than when you guys are talking about. I was so into like the animated stuff, like Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Batman the animated series is amazing.
Awesome.
So good. Um, what else? There was a Marvel one that I would watch when I was much younger. Earth's Mightiest Heroes, something like that. Um, but that stuff is what I was really into. When it comes to like those Disney shows, trying to think of the ones I'd watch. I feel like I always just had I didn't like follow many of them. I feel like we always had the Disney Channel on at our house, and then it was kind of like whatever's on. Like if Jesse's on, I'm watching an episode of Jesse. You know what I mean? Or a Dog with a Blog, if that's on, that was pretty good. you know? Like,
Oh, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. I used to
Yeah.
love that show.
what about you, Aaron?
I've got a lot. The Sweet Life, iCarly, Kicking It. I loved Kicking It.
Kicking It was really good.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was so cheesy, but it was great.
so good.
Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh my, I fell in love with that show again. It's because like for me, it had a little bit of sentimental value because I
Yeah,
watched
like
that a lot
nostalgia.
when I was younger, and I just got to relive like how good of a show it actually was.
Yeah.
And then as for movies, I don't really remember too many movies. I was a big like I would switch between like Disney XD, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network, and I would just watch all that stuff. Oh, Wizards of Waverly Place, love that show.
Oh, that show slapped. Yeah, that was good.
awesome.
That was good stuff.
You guys remember Ned the Classified School Survival Guide too?
I
That's
never really watched that. I only watched like a few episodes.
That's
of that.
same,
That
but
was a little bit before my time.
Dude, Wizards of Waverly Place was like peak, like drama. Like there would be like people would have beef with each other on that show, and like the ex-boyfriend would come in, and it would be like this big like drama-filled thing. And it was like, oh, but they can't know we're wizards and stuff. That was so funny, so stupid, so good, so good. For me, movies. My entire childhood was just dedicated to following the MCU from Iron Man to like Endgame. And then after that, I was kind of like lost. I didn't really know what to do after Endgame, especially with like such a gap afterwards. But yeah, movies, it was always Marvel on my mind for sure. Since I remember in my basement, my dad showed me the first Iron Man movie, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, this is so cool. And then I watched like all of them, was able to see like the first Avengers movie in theaters. It's great.
I was a big Star Wars kid. I didn't even bring that
Me too.
up, but it's funny because I feel like I'm reliving like some of my passions in my childhood, but in such a different sense. Like, but
Very different.
before like I liked the idea of like Star Wars. I love like following the story, but I didn't really like fully understand it. Same with like Avatar, but like
Star
recently
Wars is very complex.
I've gone back. I've actually like looked at all like the filming strategies and like the actual storyline. I've got to do a deeper dive into all like my childhood like hobbies and stuff. It's been really cool.
It's so cool, dude. Like enjoying Star Wars as like I guess I'm 18, so as an adult is so cool. Like there's stuff in there I don't understand. Like there's so much I didn't understand when I was little. You know, all the politics behind it, and like even there were the stormtroopers, and that's what like in real life that's what Hitler's soldiers were called. You know, the stormtroopers. Like the clear comparisons and stuff like that. But even in the prequels, like the politics and how the entire like Clone Wars fought over like democracy versus like the Confederation, and all like the very like deep themes about Anakin's turn to the dark side and how he was like mistreated. He was like a slave, and then like there's so many deep like themes and dark like aspects and just things that make Star Wars so much cooler like that I'm like noticing as an adult, and it's so awesome. I've like gained my passion for Star Wars ever since like The Mandalorian came out, and I've been experiencing it everywhere. I'm playing Star Wars video games, I'm watching the shows, doing the tabletop games. Great time.
I've done that same thing. I feel like the reason Star Wars is such a big franchise is because there's something for everybody in it.
It's so different at every age too. You can love it as a kid, you can love it as a teen, you can love it as an adult. Like no matter what stage in your life you're at, there's something in Star Wars for you, and that's just so like crazy, and that's why it's like the biggest IP. It's so crazy how many people can reach.
What about you guys? Have you guys been kind of, I don't know how to word it, but kind of like reliving your childhood passions in a different sense? Like, have you gone back, Matt, or have you gone back recently with like Batman? You said you're a big Batman guy.
yeah, I mean, well, not sorry if I cut you off there, but
No.
I rewatched Drake and Josh, and that's about it. I mean, might do iCarly now. I don't know, might happen, but that's really it for me.
I mean, I never really stopped reliving it. I
Yeah.
never stopped watching it, rewatching the Dark Knight trilogy. But now when I rewatch it, I'm paying attention to the directing choices, the acting choices, and dissecting the cinematography, the colors of it. I experience it in a different way. But
Yeah.
I've always kept watching and rewatching it.
And Matt, I know obviously Batman was huge, so obviously that means the Joker's huge. Why don't you
Mhm.
talk about how big the Joker movie was for you? Because that was huge for you. So why don't you talk
Yeah.
about that?
So that was a great year for movies, and
It was.
Endgame was released the same year, and I remember telling you and Roman I'm more excited to watch Joker than I am Endgame, and you guys looked at me like, what's wrong with you? But I mean that I think the first time I got that spark for film is when I saw The Dark Knight in theaters, because I mean I was only 5 years old. I had no business seeing that movie. It was way too mature for me. But seeing Heath Ledger as the Joker and his character, it just stuck with me. And not in terms of I'm gonna put on clown makeup and do horrible things, but in terms of just that character and how deranged he was. I just gravitated towards him. I had 40 different Joker toys. I read some of the comics. Um, and then seeing that he had his own movie, I was skeptical because I idolized Heath Ledger and his portrayal of the Joker. And when I heard Joaquin Phoenix was playing him, I was like, okay, that's a great actor, but let me see how it goes. But that was special for me, obviously, because he's such a great character. But I saw leaked set photos, and then there was um different things. And then when the trailer came out, I was just blown away. I absolutely loved it. And then I was like, okay, clearly this is going to be amazing. And then I booked tickets for the night before it was released, and then obviously seeing it, but then seeing how big of a impact it had on our culture. How many times have you seen someone post a Joker meme on Instagram or Twitter, or seeing people dance downstairs, and even the Joker face paint, that movie completely revamped the character. So now a lot of people, when they think of Joker, they might not think of Heath Ledger with the longer hair and the black around the eyes. They might think of the blue around the eyes and the that red suit. So yeah, that was a big deal for me.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
we got Jared Leto
Mm,
from Suicide Squad 1, which apparently we did not talk about. Um, and now, but we have him in the Snyder Cut.
yes.
As a big Joker fan, I want to hear your kind of from what the little snippet we got. Um, how do you like that?
We live in a
So
society, Matt. Tell
we do
us.
live in this society.
We do live in one.
So Jared Leto is an incredible actor, and I think David Ayer wasn't the best director for him to play the Joker. I think he had a lot of great concepts for him. I mean, everyone was kind of shocked by the tattoos and the grill and everything. But the more I saw it, I actually kind of liked it. I was like, I'll always have Heath Ledger, um, and Jack Nicholson,
It's okay to have
and
gangster Joker.
yeah, and I thought it was a cool angle to kind of go away from the mob and go into this gangster thing. And so I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. And I actually liked his laugh. It was different. And then I saw the movie, and he was barely in it. And the stuff that we saw him in wasn't great. And so everyone immediately wrote him off. And I was always kind of upset about that, because he never really got a fair shot. Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, he had as much screen time as Christian Bale. And obviously Joaquin Phoenix had an entire movie dedicated to him. So I'm so happy that he's getting a shot to revamp the character and do it with Zack Snyder, who has such a clear vision for everything in the DC universe. So I'm really excited for it. I love how weird it looks, how they did that
Yeah.
Jesus comparison with the crown on his head. I think that's really weird, and I dig it. I think it's gonna be awesome.
I'm such a big Zack Snyder fan. I
Yeah.
loved Man of Steel, man. I think Man of Steel's so good.
Mhm.
I think it's the perfect modern Superman movie. I mean, not perfect. That movie is far from perfect, but it's a very good modern adaptation of Superman that like
Yeah.
will sit well with like fans. And he doesn't have like the underwear like on the outside of his like suit, and he's like serious. He's like, but he still has like the hope and like the drive of Superman. He got that character so right, and I love
Yeah.
it.
And Watchmen, I loved Watchmen. He's like, say what you want about like, his like story choices or whatever, but he's the best visual director out there. He's one of the best by far.
I'm like so excited for the Snyder Cut just to see how good it's gonna look.
Mm.
Like, never mind how like this story, it's gonna be so great. I'm excited.
All right, we've rambled on for a bit.
have.
You did a good job. This was a good one. Yeah,
All right, well, is that everything? Is everybody?
Thanks so.
I'm happy. Thanks for
well,
watching.
Yeah, it's been episode 11 of the Senioritis podcast. Join us next week for episode 12.
Thanks for watching.